Welcome to a nutty adventure exploring personal growth and wellness, breaking down the stigma around mental health along the way. Let's dive in because now it's time to show me your nuts.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Tuesday again, and Tuesday means it's time for the nuts. And today, oh my gosh, you guys, there are going to be so many nuts and so many squirrels and so many things going on. So make sure you've got your coffee, your drink, your whatever. It might take whiskey today because this one's going to be epic. So last week, we discovered how small timeline shifts can create massive changes. And today, we're going to talk about real life and real connections and changes. So today, we're talking about quantum connections, many paths to our future memories. And I have two of my probably most favorite quantum people on the planet in the green room, making faces at me, getting ready to blow your minds. They just are going to blow your minds with the things that they know, do, and these two are just amazing humans as they are at it. So I'm going to skip all the little stuff and we're going to get right into it. Welcome to the Show Me Your Nuts studio, Sarah Horn and Alex Underwood, two amazing human beings.
Oh, thank you so much for having us. I'm super excited to be here, Stacy.
Yeah.
So backstory in a little bit is my journey to learning about diving deeper into learning of how human behavior works. And when I learned NLP, it was a snowy day in February in Kansas City, and I was stuck at a hotel.
I remember that.
For 4 days. I was supposed to drive back and forth from my house to the hotel, but the storm changed that. And so because of that, I had ordered a decent amount of food that I had delivered the first day. And I was sitting eating lunch or getting ready to eat lunch, and I was by myself. And there were two people sitting at a table, and I asked if I could sit with them. And one was Sarah, and the other was her future fiance, future husband, because he's now husband.
Yes, he is.
Flash forward to Sarah's nuptials and her some pre-partying activities, and here comes Alex. And so that's when I met Alex. So you guys now know how I met these two, but I'm going to have you guys each introduce yourselves and what you do in the world, what you want people to know about you, what you want people to know about me. I don't know.
Sarah, go ahead. You first.
Oh, me first?
Yes.
Well, yeah, Stacy and I met at that training and that snowy February day. Well, 4 days. And we're fast friends ever since. I'm a coach. I work one-on-one with women in career transition to get rid of their mental and emotional baggage, keeping them from fulfillment, and coach them toward achieving goals that they didn't think were possible. I absolutely love what I do. Love being a coach. I'm trained. Stacy and I have taken a lot of the same trainings, and I also work with a year-long coaching program to train other coaches to do what I do. So that's what I do.
Very nice. My name's Alex Underwood, and I met Stacy. I was actually the man of honor at Sarah's wedding, so I got to be there. Sarah and I have known each other for quite a time and have been through a lot of ups and downs together. And it's been fun getting to know Stacy and really just bounce ideas off of each other. I got a background as an engineer supporting experimental flight tests for Boeing and the US military. So I was a streamline lean expert, and then a trainer of advanced integrative psychology, trainer of NLP, work with suicide, depression, anxiety, PTSD. I was one of 100 mental health providers for the Vegas shooting victims, worked with a documentary called Do No Harm, helping prevent physician suicide. And then I brought the two worlds together with AI to work on automation, to be able to create my own personality assessment, integrate it with AI to create an interactive platform, but then also to integrate AI into systems to make critical thinking possible, to streamline inefficiencies for companies, buying back time. So saving 10, 15 minutes a day can be over 60 hours a year that you buy back into your company. So I've been integrating a lot of that into what I do, putting the human potential and unlocking what's possible for people and companies.
And I'll tell you guys what, you're going to have links to that, to some of the AI that Alex has created. Some of the links are going to be in the show notes. And if you don't take the 10 minutes to look at it, you're not only, you have the choice of gaining 60 hours plus that 10 minutes back if you look at it.
Also, I will say something as someone who does not get any financial kickback from this at all.
Right.
Go take Alex's Vital Spark assessment. It's amazing. I've used it for myself. I've used it for my clients. It provides insight that no other assessment out there does.
Yeah.
It's truly worth it.
And financial kickback, money or not, I think hopefully you guys on this, if you're viewing this show and have watched anything of mine, I am not going to promote any individual product or situation that I don't wholeheartedly believe in. And I think belief is important in life in general. Like, if you don't hold true to the things you believe in, I think you're out of integrity. And if you're out of integrity, can you step forward into your next step? Well, I'm going to pose that question to you guys. We're going to go deep right now.
Forward. I think a lot of people I think a lot of people step forward out of integrity, but they're not always conscious of it. I think they're out of alignment with themselves, and they're lying to themselves. They don't know who they are. They don't know what their intent is, and they get caught up in the day-to-day activities of life, and they get busy. They forget really what it means to be alive. And
absolutely. Yeah.
I think your ability to pause and reflect and to go through the cycle of self-emergence, to be able to dive into that self-exploration and figure out who you really are. I mean, that's one of the benefits of having friends like Stacy and Sarah, is that I can sit and get on the phone and say, hey, Sarah, I need to talk to you for 10 minutes, and call her up and go, I need to dive into this. And we have great conversations. And it's not about what was on Netflix it might have been, but it's what was on Netflix and how it made me think about something that happened in my past. Or, Stacy, I'm working through this issue, and what are your thoughts on this? And, Sarah, I've got this client I'm working with, and I go back and forth and being able to bounce. But diving into who we are as people helps us find that integrity. And I think it's not just you're in integrity or not, but you're refining what that integrity means to be able to take it deeper as you go through that cycle again and again and again.
Yeah, knowing who you are and creating an intention helps you walk in integrity.
And it's, I think you're right, is that whole, kind of like I was saying, many paths to something. It really is a path that we're following, not necessarily a destination. It is a journey, and it's a journey in and out of who we are at any given moment, and finding out who we are next. Because I think it's not just who we are right this second, but it's also the who we want to be, the who we don't want to be, the who a new situation allows us to be. And I think those things have power too.
I agree. And I think that the environment that you put yourself in and the people you surround yourself with kind of dictate who you're allowed to be. I think that you can stand in a particular sense of integrity with who you are. But if you put yourself in an environment for long enough, that environment will affect your ability to stay in that. And you will either impact your environment and the environment will change, or ultimately you will change. And one of the two is going to happen, or you're going to eject from that environment.
Yeah, if it doesn't fit, you're going to eject, or it's going to eject you.
Or you may change in ways that you don't want to if it's not the right environment. It all boils down to intention.
Good call. Good call. So in those, in that whole vein of many paths to our future memory, what, and I know that before the show we talked about things not being techniques, but it being more of an understanding. Alex, would you be able to dive into that one a little bit deeper for our viewers, for them to understand those differences?
Well, there's an aspect of knowledge that allows you to have a cognitive comprehension, a conscious awareness as to why, what, how, understanding why you do what you do, why you are the way that you are. And the more knowledge you have about any particular situation, the more acceptance or the more flexibility you have in that situation. When you learn new tools, you have more you can work with. Mm-hmm. But at the same point, when you have those tools, as you apply them, you create leverage, you create expediency. So I believe that they work in unison, that you have tools and techniques that allow you to let go of baggage to be able to navigate. But sometimes understanding what that baggage is, how it was created, allows you to put new tools and systems in place to be able to prevent it, or to have compassion for people as they're going through a situation, because you understand what's driving the actions and behaviors. Instead of just going, let's help you let it go, you can hold space for them, knowing that they may want to process that emotion as opposed to just let it go.
I think you also bring up a good point. As you were talking, I'm thinking of not just me working with clients as a therapist or coach, but also just me out to lunch with friends and realizing what another person is going through, or me out, with my family and understanding that, my brother may have had a rough day. And so that's why he's being, short or snooty or whatever. He's always a smart ass, but that's a whole different show.
Or just you're assigning the meaning of short and snooty, that those are your perceptions, that those are your judgments, that your assignment of what somebody is or is not supposed to react or act like is actually what's causing those labels to come up.
And in those labels getting brought up, you also are attaching that to a memory or a situation, and you may be creating a program in your life, for lack of a different word, that you're going to go through over and over until you realize, with the understanding about yourself, that you're doing that it's you doing that.
Yep.
And I think that's something that we're not socialized to, as far as social learning. We talk about taking responsibility for our actions, but we don't talk about it at that level, like in school or in general society. Now, there's some of us who may talk about that with people because we're immersed in a different perspective on things.
I don't know that we talk about taking responsibility from our actions in social circles. I think we talk about, oh my God, I can't believe that she said that, he said that, she said that, oh my God, can you believe that, Sarah?
I was giving a little bit of grace to the fact that we might talk about it, but
I think you're giving too much grace to society.
This is true. Maybe we need to move to a different planet, right? Yeah, you're definitely right. Is that, and it's rampant in discussions of, our view of whether somebody else should take responsibility for something, but that's back to that's our view again.
I hate that word should. People should all over themselves way too much.
I heard one of my friends said it. They said should is could with shame attached.
Yes, I was about to bring up that same quote. Maybe it's you that told me that quote. Yeah.
I love
shame attached.
So new hashtags are born on this show all the time. New hashtag should shame. Or don't should your shame.
Don't should yourself.
Don't should yourself.
Don't
Yeah.
should yourself. Don't should yourself.
Yeah, because that's just nutty.
When someone tells you what you should do, just look at them and tell them they should go should themselves.
Yeah. Go should yourself.
Go should yourself.
Far away from me.
Yeah.
Oh, you have to excuse me. I just shoulded myself. I
Yeah.
shoulded myself all over the woods. It was bad. Oh my God. It was an explosive shoulding. My daughter, she had an explosive should situation. It was bad.
And explosive shoulds. Even worse than regular shoulds.
Oh, and when you get the runs, it's just bad. When the shoulds just start to run, oh my God.
Because then there's should all over the place. And you slip and slide and it's not pretty. It's not pretty. You fall and hit your head. And
you say this Tuesday morning while people are drinking their brown coffee. Well done.
Yeah, drinking your coffee. Exactly. Well, I did say you might need whiskey for this one, but
brown coffee staining their teeth, and then you wonder, is it the coffee that stained their teeth or the shoulding?
The rabbit holes or squirreling that we do here, it's that much of a nutty framework around this place. You get in those seats and you start saying stuff. When people do those things, I know that, I know my perspective of what happens when somebody connects a should to themselves. But what do you guys say about that? What is the result of the shoulding?
It depends. Are you talking about yourself, a client, or a friend, or in what context?
Certainly anyone outside of ourselves. From your professional standpoints, what happens when an individual connects a should to themselves? It connects that shame to a thing.
It's usually springing from some either lack mindset or expectations of others, or some sort of unseen barrier or baggage that's in the way. So when I hear a should, I dig. At least when it's a client. If it's a friend or my husband, I might say, tell me more, but I'm not going to coach them.
No, that's an amazing point too, because just because there are 3 coaches on this screen does not mean that they coach everyone they interact with.
Exactly. And permission is so important. Alex has had permission to call me out on my shit since 2019, since we met.
Is that that's a blanket permission, right?
Pretty much, yeah. But still, when it's time for him to call me out on my shit, he'll ask permission and say, hey, can I call you out on this? I'll be like, okay. But still, it's a permission-driven thing every single time. Yeah.
I think that's, and that goes back to me, my relationship in coaching, in therapy, in teaching, all the professions I've had. Relationship is key to whether something works or not. And I think our relationship with other humans as coaches, as therapists, as teachers, but also as friends and family members, we have an obligation there, how we deal with that relationship, and how we deal with that relationship gives us the possibility of things being better in the relationship or not, depending on.
And also understanding what kind of conversation you're having. Is this a venting conversation? Do you want advice? What kind of conversation are we having here where the should comes out?
Yeah. So if it's a friend, it's going to play out very different. If it's a family member, it's going to play out maybe even different than that. We're going to, generally we all three, I think, believe in asking for permission to do that. And I think that's where I sometimes like catch myself being human when I forget to ask that, because it's not that, especially with the closer I am with somebody, I will trip over my own self sometimes and be human and forget to ask. Which to me, that's where the relationship being solid and being able to ask forgiveness is vital. Whether it's somebody I know or whether it's somebody I don't know, the asking of forgiveness, I think I think those are two powerful pieces. The relationship and forgiveness in general, no matter how you do it.
Yeah, there's a concept in developing attachment when you start looking at developmental psychology and in every relationship, but it's the process of rupture and repair. It's how you build security in any relationship.
Maybe just for our viewers' edification, would you be able to give a short version of that one?
Rupture and repair?
Yeah.
Language is okay in this conversation?
Language is always okay in my room.
You piss people off and then you fix it. That's the brief version of rupture and repair. You piss them off and then you fix it. So rupture and repair is the idea that there will naturally be issues within any dynamic between people. And it is not the idea that the relationship needs to be perfect, but the idea that the relationship can stand controversy or challenges and repair and maintain security. Security is not built upon a perfect dynamic, but is built on the trust that the relationship can withstand the trials. And the only way that that trust can be built is through a process of continually developing rupture and repair, breaking the system and fixing it, breaking it and fixing it, because then you learn to trust that even in those breaks, there will be a repair process and that it is a secure, trusting relationship.
I think that one's vital for us to think about and talk about, especially like my audience. One of the things we've talked about, so we talked about in August, August's keyword or concept was resilience. And some of that resilience, we talked about procrastination, we talked about perfection, we talked about foundations, we talked about like things of building the foundation of relationships. And so I think as we move into the idea of what is quantum and what's a quantum connection and how we're all connected and what that means, looking deeper at those relationships and looking at how the relationship's formed and how trust is formed is like taking the next step.
Well, if you want to start talking about quantum connections in relationships, then you're talking about the projection of self into the other individual. And the aspect that you are rejecting in that break is actually an aspect of yourself that in the repair, you're actually accepting that that aspect is not completely unforgivable of self. So if you start looking at in the rupture and repair process, what you're doing is accepting that there are aspects of yourself that you may not like that are actually acceptable, even though they may not form the best parts.
And thusly,
perception is. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. No, go ahead, Sarah.
In NLP, you've learned perception is interpretation. Really, it's perception is projection. Mm-hmm. There is no other. Everything is you. And if something that you see triggers you, there's something in yourself that needs to resolve.
Yeah.
Which
comes back to self.
One of the most fascinating pieces that I learned as I was going through the NLP studies was the idea of the holographic plate, and that they shine light through the holographic plate and it projects the image of the whole. And no matter how many times you break the image of the holographic plate, it still projects the image of the whole. And if you mirror that with a study of quantum physics and understanding human anatomy, and that they found the innermost particle of humans is light, and that our DNA contains the image of the whole, that light projected through our DNA projects around us the image of the whole as a holograph, which then leads to that book, Holographic Universe. But the idea of perception as projection is actually a quantifiable measurement of our light projecting through our DNA, distorted through our resistance to the light, which is our emotional baggage, or our interference to the energy pattern, which is the baggage. If you actually look at what emotional baggage is, it's disruption to the energy pattern. And then that is distorting the holographic image. So what you see around you is a distortion caused by your own limiting beliefs and negative emotions.
That's it.
Mic drop.
Yeah, go over.
So that's perception is projection taken to the this is funny.
Taken to the professional mindfuck level.
Exactly.
I knew we get to the point that came out at some point.
Well, okay, so everybody on the show gets a squirrel name. I don't know if you guys knew this. Everybody gets a squirrel name, and I think, Alex, you may deserve more than one squirrel name. One of them, I think, is Vital Knowledge Squirrel or Vital Wisdom Squirrel. I haven't figured out exactly which words, but you've got some vital mic drops, and you show up with them on time every time, even when you don't expect it, I think. And that's just what's one thing that fascinates me about you is how, for one, when I first met, I'll back up to a story. When I first met Alex, one of the things I loved was some of the ways that his brain works in the left brain and right brain mixing back and forth, and coming up with things that other people think might think are weird. And I'm like, oh my God, that's similar to how my brain works. I'm not saying our brains work exactly alike for certain, but I love the fact that I finally met somebody on this planet who looks at the computer, and I'll just use this as an example, like computer type stuff, and geeks out, and then looks at quantum brain, quantum physics, quantum connections between humans, and geeks out, and then puts them together and geeks out with that. In other words, the programming of this right here and the programming of this right here, and then puts it together as one thing. And, when I've talked about that in the past, I think people look at me sideways. And when I talked about it with you, Alex, you were like, yeah. And, and then you keep dropping bombs like that, where you're connecting the things from an NLP course to the things in all of the different other, quantum physics. You're connecting neuro, brain, and quantum physics. Not that you're the first one to do that, but you do it so eloquently.
Oh, Alex can form a bridge between any two things in 3 connections or less. I've seen you do it with things that are absolutely not related, and yet.
Ooh, Sarah, maybe we should each give him a thing and then see what he does. It is called Quantum Connections, Many Paths to the Same, your future memories. So we could turn this into a Quiz Alex show.
It could be. Yes.
Oh.
Because I think I don't think you're right. I know you're right. It's the magic, and then you have to sit there for a little bit and have them either repeat it or play the message over and over and go, okay, oh, huh, oh, and to catch up. Or at least that's my experience.
And I love the way, Alex, that you explain things. I think the very first time I heard you do the chair explanation proved to me that this chair exists was in 2019. And I just kind of silently stared at you because I had no response.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, you're brilliant.
I appreciate that. Well, and we all have a unique perspective. I mean, for me, I struggled as a child because nobody understood me. So I had to learn how to communicate in different ways. So it's actually my trauma. And I think that's what a lot of us do, is that our greatest skills often come from our greatest challenges because we learn to compensate for those challenges. And so people not understanding me has led to my ability to understand things and people at a very deep level and communicate it in a way that other people get. And so most people actually take things that they struggle with and it becomes some of their greatest strengths.
That's an excellent example of something that my dad taught me years ago of trauma and negative experiences can either be a jailer or a teacher. And you've used all of your life experiences as a teacher and grown from it. And I really admire that.
Well, and that goes back to the difference between it's the victim, the hero and the villain have the same backstory. They had some traumatic event, and one said, this happened to me and I deserve. And the other one said, this happened to me and it's not going to happen to anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
It's a choice. Everything comes down to choice. Conscious or unconscious, it still comes down to choice.
Yeah.
And that's all we have at any given present moment is you're either unconscious is making decisions or you're consciously making a decision that is unfolding your future memories. That's what this episode's about. And so in the past, we have gratitude, celebrations, and wins. And in the future, you have your intentions, visions, directions. But in the present moment, you either have habit, the unconscious making your choices for you, or you have choice, which is your conscious overriding your unconscious decision. And that's it. So in every moment, everything is either conscious or unconscious choice running a pattern in that moment consistently.
And, I wonder in hearing that, I obviously I've heard you actually discuss that very thing and use similar descriptions of it with clients. But I also know in a lot of clients, and maybe, I don't know if you guys have had the same experience, people having fear of choice, change, and decisions.
Oh, all the time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, because that's kind of the crux, in a way, some of the crux of where we work.
I think for me, what I found is that they think that's the fear, but the fear is actually the outcome of. It's not the choice, the change, or the decision. It's what comes from the choice, the change, or the decision.
But they view it, right. It's the outcome that they're actually afraid of. But they view it as the choice, the change, or the decision that they're afraid of.
Because
it's either the outcome or the sacrifice.
Because they think they have control over those and they don't.
Mm-hmm.
Also, sometimes I see when people are afraid of success.
All the time.
And that's such an odd concept to think of. Because, you in our society, it's like, well, what do you mean fear of success? We should all want success. It doesn't mean that you can't want and be afraid of it at the same time.
Said should.
There I go, shouldn't.
She shoulded herself.
I shouldn't. I did. Yeah.
Sorry.
Somebody clean it up.
Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Maybe some fireworks are in order. We'll see. Does it come up? Oh no, confetti.
Oh, confetti. Okay.
Oh well, confetti will fall on the floor. It'll clean it up. Now I completely I went so far off the rails. I forgot where we were.
We went down the squirrel tunnel.
I know. Yep. There are some squirrels and nuts around here. So I'll introduce Sarah's squirrel name while we're in there. Sarah also has a hidden background, although you can find it on the interwebs, of singing. So every stage needs a singer. So we have, I give you Singing Squirrel.
Okay. I'm Singing Squirrel. Let me change my name on here.
Or melodic squirrel. I'm not sure what singing word would you like with squirrel?
Well, I mean, Singing Squirrel Sarah, it's all S's, so I don't hate it. And that singing is how I met my husband, so that singing will always have a special place in my heart.
Yes. So yeah, now that you see Sarah's name, you look that up in singing, you might find things about her singing. And I actually have not heard you sing on stage, but my mom has.
Oh, in Carmen last year. Yeah.
Yes, because she was going to something, didn't tell me what she was going to until afterwards, and I'm like, wait a minute, my friend was singing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fun backstories.
I don't know that I heard you sing on stage, but I have you singing in the airport.
Yes, that one time. Yes. That was the only time I have sung in Mercury. Just for you, my friend. Just for you.
I was going to say, I suspect that was a personal performance.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and you have to be special to get that.
Oh.
So special singing squirrel Sarah is now enshrined in the family of squirrels, and the vital wisdom Alex Squirrel. So if you were to, let's say somebody's looking at the show and going, what in the world do you mean by quantum anyway? So I'm kind of backtracking us a little. What is each of your views of what the word quantum or the phrase quantum connections means? What's your meaning that you put with it?
My meaning is that literally everything is connected. Spirituality has a saying of as above, so below. And also you can see an aspect of the quantum in fractal geometry in a tree in a forest. You can measure a tree and its coverage and how far apart trees are and know what the layout of the entire forest is. It's the same with coral and fish. I mean, it's everywhere. Everything is connected, and everything in some way or another is dependent on other things. The butterfly effect is real.
I like that description of the view. Alex?
I think for me, quantum is the space between the space. It's understanding the unseen connections, and it's that space between the space. It's understanding that which is unseen and then understood. I think one of the best explanations I've ever heard of quantum is the more you think you understand it, the less you actually understand.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. It's like an infinite rabbit hole or squirrel trail. It's like it's never ending. I think of, not only, some of the things we've talked about, but I also think in native terminology of a Potawatomi word called Janaganon, which is basically we are all connected. And so then that takes me to my personal connection with indigenous knowledge, but also the fact that all of us go back at some point to some kind of indigenous knowledge, and that indigenous knowledge carried more than we realize. It wasn't primitive. As a matter of fact, it was maybe much more intricate than we live now. I think we're bringing together that indigenous what I'll call older knowledge, ancestral knowledge, whatever group you go back to, bringing that, and then this scientific thing that happened in the middle. And then now we're bringing in the spiritual thing that happened in the middle, and we're bringing it all together in our more current understanding of what those connections are, the space between the space, the connected to each other piece.
I think one of the interesting aspects when you start talking quantum is at the highest level of abstraction, everything is energy and it is one thing. And the very first responsibility of man in the Bible, that route, was it's like God brought all of these different things before man and said, name these. And it's like, okay, what is this? What is this? What is this? But what I took from that as the very first responsibility of man was to separate, to distinguish, to divide. And so from that unification is God. That is energy. It's that oneness. And then as you divide, you become more into that physical plane. And as you get more into that physical plane, it divides and it divides, it divides until you divide so much that you're back in to where it is so microscopic that you can no longer tell the difference between, and you're back to one thing. And so you start where everything is one, you divide to create separation, and the division becomes so much that you can no longer distinguish the separation.
I'm feeling like this, like where you said space between space. and that really, it's kind of like, one of the other ways I describe things is like when you the thought experiment of thinking, what's it like to be a grain of sand on Earth compared to what is it like to be the universe? And so, like, not that that's the largest and the smallest in reality, but I think that thought experiment resonates with people, because when you think of that, you think of your perception of that little bitty grain of sand and your perception of the multiverses or everything's, you start wrapping your head around the thing, and you start down the rabbit hole of the more you know, the less you know. Just for a little bit of translation of Alex's translation to the audience. I'm hoping that's not that you need a lot of translation, because you speak so eloquently that I think anybody can understand as long as they hit rewind and listen to it again. At least that's what I have to do.
He's so quotable.
I know. Like, especially when the shoulds, I'm still not getting over the shoulds. I'm going to do a quick little commercial break. And then when we come back, let's kind of see where we all are in the concept of quantum connections and paths. And I want you guys to help me, take it down either another rabbit hole or see where we go to the next part of the show. We'll be right back.
Breakthroughs are about more than you might think. They're about discovering who you are, digging deep, reaching to the core of your soul. They're about healing yourself, understanding your beliefs, creating a ripple effect. And it's not just those initial moments. It's about using them to bring more joy into our own lives and the lives of others. It's about having fun, letting loose, enjoying every moment life has to offer. It's about finding a safe space. It's about creating connection. Join us each and every day for exclusive programming, special events, and a community to call home, where we invite you to explore, change the way you look at and live your life, and go beyond the breakthrough. So we ask you, are you ready? We'll see you online at thebreakthroughshow.com.
I love the music in that. Jessica did a amazing job on that. This is the Breakthrough Show Network. If I hadn't introduced the two of you to that before, interesting that's where I ended up with Show Me Your Nuts. Even the word breakthrough, which that actually had nothing to do with it. It had to do with the good vibes I felt when I met the people on the network. And there's respect for all different views and ways of perceiving, journeying, and living in this life, in this network. So that's part of why I'm here. So to wrap us around, what do you guys think we missed? What's another aspect of energy, connection? What should people look for? Like, or, if somebody's starting on this journey, what are they possibly feeling or doing?
Go for it, Alex. I see your hamster wheel turning.
I know. I
was curious. Sarah, as somebody is getting ready and they're going to work with you as a coach, they're coming to you and they're looking for something, but they don't have clarity. What are some of the things that you feel are really important for them to have in place from a current perspective, but also from what they're trying to envision and create? So when you're sitting down to meet with them, what are some of those things that you feel are really important for people to have in place?
Well, you're very familiar already with the 4 requisites for lasting change. Getting rid of baggage, setting an intention, focusing on the outcome that you want, and taking consistent action toward that outcome. What I do as a coach using tools from neuro-linguistic programming and energy work, I help people understand who they are and who they need to be in order to do what's necessary to have what they want. And so I always am setting a 3-part goal with someone: a being goal, a doing goal, and a having goal. It's Western society is so focused on having that they lose sight of who they are in the process. And when you lose sight of who you are, there's a lack of fulfillment, a lack of purpose, a lack of direction. It just becomes about having the thing. And once you have that, now what? Or maybe there's something that's out of reach that you keep self-sabotaging yourself and you can't quite get to because of all this baggage that you're tripping over in your life that you can't seem to get past. And so that's what I do in my work as a coach, to help people be who they want to be, do what they need to do to have what they want to have.
So when you're talking about this, one of the things you mentioned is like the idea of knowing who you are and setting those goals and making that work, taking that action. And we talked earlier about integrity and moving forward with integrity. The idea of the show is about the path to your future memories. Now, talk about, if you would, I'd love to get your insight on that concept of future memories. Like that, the memory is something that's typically placed in the past, but a future memory, something that's in the future, but then tying that to who we are, like that discovery process that you're talking about.
Gorgeous.
You worded that so well, but now I don't know which direction to go with it. Future memories. When you let go of whether it be spiritual, mental, emotional, physical baggage, your perception on things change, your perception of the past, and also your perception of the future. When you let go of all of that shit and all of the shoulds, you can see things a lot brighter, a lot more hope, possibilities, positive outcomes that it's hard to see when you're looking through the filters of your own yuck.
So if you have a should veil in front of you.
Yes, a should veil.
A veil of should.
Yeah, it's looking through the lens of life with baggage-covered glasses. Who wants that?
Ugh, they sound heavy.
Yeah, just
if you talk about baggage-covered glasses, let's take the listener and tell them, give them some examples. Like baggage is a great term, but it's a thing. I work with a client and she's a single mom and she's struggling because she doesn't have any support and she's all by herself. And she's always she's because she doesn't have any support, and she's sitting there talking to me about it. And I'm laughing because I'm like, you're telling me, who's here supporting you, that you don't have any support, but it's the reality. It's the lens through which she's seeing the world, because her mom wasn't there and her ex wasn't there. But what does that actually mean to her? And what does that, but if I sit and go, yeah, but I'm here supporting you. Yeah, but but it's that idea. So when you talk about the baggage lens, dive into that. Like, give us some more ideas as to like, what does that actually feel like and how do we navigate that?
Or maybe even an example, because I know that you have a recent example of a client who did some amazing things and is now in like their dream job.
Yes. I just graduated a client. Yeah. She coached with me on career. She had sort of an idea of what she wanted, but mostly she just knew that she was unhappy where she was at. and thought that what she wanted was out of reach, that she was too old. People start retiring at 65, not looking for new work at 65 in a completely different career field than she was in at that point. She had worked in the career field that she's now in many, many years before. She was just very much out of the loop at the time. And so getting rid of the belief of I'm too old, or the job market is so horrible right now, or I could never get what I want, and going, okay, well, let's get rid of those beliefs, and using the tools, techniques, and energy work to get rid of all that stuff. Okay, now with a clear lens, with looking toward the future and the memories that you want to create, what do you want? And she was able to craft exactly who she needed to be, do, and to have the job that she wanted. And the original goal that she set, even without the baggage, was a little bit too small. And I initially called her out on it and was like, I think that you can go dream a little bigger here. And she's like, I'm not sure. And then she got a job that fit exactly what she asked for. And a job offer for exactly what she asked for. And she realized this is too small. And so she went bigger. And instead of a job in that industry that is the head of a state, she's now the head of 8 states. So she went regional, not just statewide. And it fits her so well. It fits every single thing that she was asking for and that she basically dreamcasted for. And I am so proud of the work that she did to get there. And she had to also change the vision of who she was into the person that was inhabiting this job. And immediately, once we set that being goal, she started carrying herself different. She had a glow about her. She started dressing different, speaking different. And she became this more evolved version of herself. And that was just evolutions like that just give me chills when I think about it. It just makes me so happy, and it's why I do what I do.
It's a beautiful way to describe illustration. Let me say illustration of what a future memory. You helped her dreamcast that, like it's dreamcast, like putting into that. What's that memory you want to? What's that thing you want to be? And then when you can see what it is that you clearly, without the things in front of it, without the shoulds in front of it, and without all the stuff, you can actually see what it is you really want, the way you really want things. And then again, like you said, it comes back and she started embodying it.
Exactly.
I think for me, the most incredible magic that I see, there's a lot of coaches that are incredibly powerful, that are good at walking their clients from goal to completion. And that's never really been like my desire, my forte. It's never been my strength as a coach. The magic that I love is watching the person go from I can't to what if. Not to I can, but just to crack that door to what if. What if I could? What if it's possible? Because when you open up even the glimpse of possibility, it creates a world of opportunity. And it's a fascinating concept to me, because there is something so concrete when you know something can or can't be done that drastically limits what's possible. And people focus on when you know something can't be done, the concreteness, but when you know something can be done, it eliminates the excitement and the challenge. Mm-hmm. It eliminates, like, how excited are you that you can tie your shoes? I watch my daughter as she's learning to tie her shoes, and she's like, oh my God, I did it. Like, there's excitement to it because of the uncertainty of the ability. But when you have certainty of what you can do, you lose something there too. And so I love the moment of possibility, that what if that precedes the certainty. That's the magic for me. And it's
like watching the little sparks that go off.
Yeah.
It's those first little sparks, and then they turn into a fireworks show when somebody's going from, maybe, and they start running down that road, and you can like feel the energy come from them of the excitement. It's like this little thing little bitty thing, and then it grows and grows and grows in front of you.
Yeah.
At least that's my perception.
It's the breaking of the atom that releases the energy. And that's the way, like, as you were describing it, it's like when you have something that is fused and you break it, it releases an energy source that is unfathomable. And I love that feeling of watching that energy release.
There he goes again, Sarah.
Yep.
There he goes again.
This is why we can talk for hours.
I know. Well, okay, so that brings me to another question. Would you guys come back on Show Me Your Nuts for future topics and nosedives and should fest? Well, maybe not a should fest. I know
maybe
that
not the should fest.
October is going to be and just a little foreshadowing for the audience. October is going to be integrity. November is going to be all about values. And December, are you ready for it? Beliefs.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah. You know, and those are in those particular months on purpose. Actually, quantum is in September on purpose, because there's an event in September that I have not been to yet, but holds some fun quantum energy that, so it's kind of like me foreshadowing for myself there. But I
can't wait for you to come.
See what happens when you have that resilience that we talked about connection the first month, then resilience. Connection, then freedom, then resilience. And now we're in quantum, then integrity. And so we gave you a little bit about integrity today. And by integrity, I kind of mean that feeling at balance or at peace with yourself. You know, there's lots of different ways to view that word, but I kind of view it in similar veins of the word congruence, being congruent with yourself. To me, if I'm congruent with myself, I am more in my integrity. Again, perception, those are my, and we, I one of the things people have heard me say on this show before, and you guys probably know this one, 8.2 billion minus one. There's only one person who has this interpretation of things. There's 8.2 billion plus or minus however many at any given time, minus the one. Like, that's the number of other perspectives that are out there. And to me, that's one of the beautiful things. To me, that's also one of the things that quantum means, is that we can have that many different perceptions and ways of thinking about things, that many possible what ifs, if you will, Alex. Really, it's a different version of the what if. To me, it's can I wrap my perception here around what someone else's might be? So that what if then that helps me learn something new. So like that's an internal motivator for me is the learning, and can I do that? And maybe a challenge, puzzle type challenge. Can I do that? Because I know if I do it, I'm going to learn something new. Especially or when it's somebody who believes or is doing something completely different than me. That's more challenging, but it's also comes with lots of really cool lessons if you allow yourself to, I think. And so I think, to me, quantum means possibility as much as it also means connection.
Yeah.
So what are your last phrases? What are your last things for people, for our today's audience?
Anything's possible. That's
Did it again.
I like that.
I should have asked you first, Sarah, so that Alex could have brought in the last mic drop.
I'll let him keep that mic drop. Anything is possible.
I think anything is possible. I'm going to say, I'll say it in Potawatomi just because it came to me that way. Miigwech Mamagosnan for introducing me to these two beautiful souls that I have learned so much from and continue to learn from and enjoy being around immensely. The Should Fest you guys saw, that's just the tip of the iceberg. We were all being good. Um, so I love it that you guys were here. I appreciate you beyond words. And I appreciate also that you may come back and join me again and, go down another rabbit hole with me.
Well, thank you so much for having us. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Looking forward to hopefully coming back.
I hope so. See you guys next Tuesday.
Thank you for joining us on this nutty adventure. Remember, personal growth and wellness are journeys best taken together. Keep exploring, keep growing, and don't forget to show me your nuts next time.